Hi, this is a guy in a den, and I was toying with the idea of making a comparison, a good, a bad, an ugly, of both Aloft and Lost Skies. But I decided that after I started making a video, it just took so long to just talk about one game. And making a side by side comparison isn't really fair, even though there's a lot of shared similarities. And they're still in early access. So again, making a good, the bad, the ugly about something that is not released kind of didn't serve the purpose of what I wanted to do. So I'm thinking about just making a take. Let's discuss take about what a loft is, the shape it's in, and some of the features, what I like, and what I really don't care about. I think that would be more valuable to anyone just wanting a rundown on a loft, whether they want to buy it or not, just to get an idea of what they can expect. I think that in itself is far better. And here we are on my ship island. Ship island? You know, an island that you could fly, which is pretty cool. One of the things that I always liked about this game was the idea of taking an appropriate island, and there are many choices to choose from, and then making your own little island out of it. I swear to gosh, that one actually moved. I think I put it over here and that's interesting. I'm gonna rename that. Birds. Birds. There we go. Just because you can set it up differently elsewhere. And this is actually a good idea. Because otherwise, you drop the birds down just on the island anywhere how it was before. And trying to find these tiny little birds that could just hide under anywhere, that was a pain. Whereas you can control a little bit better if you divide it there. And then, of course, you could create another landing pad for elsewhere if you would say find a sheep or goat or something like that. Anywho, which is a cool idea. Actually one of the better ideas. So let's talk a little bit about the game, what you can expect. So this is still in early access, still being improved on. This is a game where you are swept up in a storm, dropped off on an island. As you walk out of that particular cave that you were dropped into and do some of the basic stuff just to learn the basics of crafting and things like that, you see this giant turtle-like creature flying across the sky that at some point will end up meeting again and possibly build a home on. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. That's the rumor anyway. So this is more like a tribal thing with axes and swords, stone axes and swords, by the way. And it's less of a futuristic thing. So here's your home that I built on an island, or my home, obviously. And then you have storage, and you have something to grow here. I haven't decided to plant anything. I am right now in the second area. Moving towards this one, which is a kind of a manually crafted island that has technology you can unlock. I have done all these things here, and these are islands that you can visit. Now, you will notice that I have just skipped a lot of them. And there's a reason why, which is part of my conversation here to make it as quickly as possible. That's the issue with the game right now. Now, this is procedure created. So the main island, the ones with the special manually created that has some of the story elements on them, like you see here, those one are created by the devs. The rest of them are like randomly assigned islands from a pool of islands with a random set of resources on them. So that's all procedurally created. Sometimes they're here, sometimes they're there, whatever, right? So these little dots here are all things that the system creates when you first start playing the game. So that's going to be different from every playthrough. So that theoretically adds to some replayability. Theoretically. The problem with that is that the way they have set up how you discover technology, the way you approach unlocking things, and also what's actually on the islands, is that this turns out to be not fun. There's a couple of reasons for this. First of all, when it comes to technology, and let's discuss that a little bit. Let's say every time you create a whole new character, you don't reuse the other character that has unlocked stuff already, but you start fresh. Then there's essentially a couple of segments to this unlocking of technology and why it makes everything else bad. Simple by this nature is that here you can start unlocking certain recipes. This is kind of the first thing you do in a cave by unlocking, say, the axe and the hammer, etc. And what you do is that all the ingredients you pick up is going to have a yellow dot next to it. So if you have picked up stones or wood or something like that, then what you can do for that is combine them together. It will tell you it has a yellow dot on it, see? Mix only the yellow dot ingredients. So all the stuff that you collect that has a yellow dot, just click on those. It brings it together. Then you craft your first thing. And from that, you unlock things like this one, this recipe, or this one, or that one. So all you have to do is find 3 leaves, and now you can make one of those. Or you find 2 stones, you can make one of those. And that's part of bigger recipes in this case. For example, that one that requires some timber and that sharp rock thing, right? So that's one way of doing it. The other one of doing it, which is a nifty way, is you have what's called, do I have it on already? Sketchbook. So as long as you have the ingredients for the sketchbook, which is charcoal and paper, again, things that you can unlock over time, and then just make and craft, you can then go around and sketch items. Items that you see in the environment that you haven't seen before. There has a yellow hue to it. This one is gray because I already discovered. And then just click to sketch, and now you have unlocked that as another feature of things that you can find in the environment. And that's cool. And that's mainly things like these, right? Building blocks for these things that you can find. You will not find a way to unlock workbenches and whatnot. That's called a knowledge stone. Now, there are 3 types of knowledge items in this game. One is an anchor. That unlocks anything that has to do with sailing or moving your ship. So that's the things like the helm, the sail, and the lift up and down. You will find those readily spread out on several different islands. Now this is all based on sectors. So the first 3 sectors that you see here in gray before you go over the wall, it's one sector. They will have their own unique items that you can unlock of the main stuff. So for example, leaf sails, right? So those are the green ones made out of leaf. And then you can unlock wool sail, which is what you need in order to get over this barrier here, which is a barrier of giant rocks that can smash your thing. So you need those wool. And for that, you need to pick up anything that carries wool, like llamas and sheep, right? So you can get wool out of it. And then later on now in the second sector that I am, now you're going to start being unlocked something called linen, right? And that is just a more sturdier kind of equipment. And again, as you go into these anchors on this side, they are now going to start giving you the next set of technology. So you unlock things up to a certain point, then the anchors are not going to give you anything. And then you go over here, and now the anchors are going to give you something up until a point. Then you have knowledge stones. Knowledge stone is just general knowledge, cosmetics, things of that nature that you can unlock. That would be fireplaces, these planters, etc., that you can also sketch. As I said, certain things that manufacturers, such as workbenches, wind power, and things of that nature, those you cannot sketch. Those are just so broken that you cannot sketch them. That you have to discover through the knowledge stone or the frescoes, which are the big things that you find on those manufactured islands. Up to a certain point. Again, per each sector, you're going to find a number of items that are important for your progress. And then you're going to get cosmetic stuff, like building 5 sets of pillows and 3 things of, let's see if you could show, like beds and different versions of that. Because as you see the plus sign, that just means that there are different versions that you can do. If you look in the right hand corner, you see the 2 different versions you can unlock there. And the same applies that for these things. Like this one has a bench and a chair. This one has several different types of chairs that you can either sketch or find as knowledge from the knowledge stone by virtue of first getting the good stuff and then just the garbage. I say garbage because these are things that are not important for the game. These are cosmetics. You can sit in them, but it doesn't do anything for you. Same thing for carpets, another cosmetic. Lamps, more cosmetics. And that's the problem with the whole technology system. Frescoes are cool. They give you main objectives and furthering the lore and the progression because it gives you a little thing of what the empire did when it was here and discovered, and then you get the first knowledge piece out of that, like wind power, for example. That's the next step that I'm looking for, so I can process these, but just wind power, so they constantly just do the job using wind power as opposed to me having to go in and kind of do this, right? And that will unlock more features. Now I'm going to be able to do linden eventually. I'm going to do this and that, and maybe an auto water system for this. So I can just keep on planting seeds, and then it's just going to auto water it until I can harvest it. That's cool. I can understand the boat anchors because their only purpose of the boat anchors is to unlock the next progression of how to propel your island forward. Knowledge stones are near worthless in this. Sketching book is cool. I like going to the workbench, maybe find new materials and kind of pick together what it now will unlock for me. Sketching is also cool because you see something in the environment going like, oh, I haven't seen that before, and then you sketch it. That's part of progression exploration. But knowledge stone is a big disappointment. You will know that the first couple of knowledge stones are going to be things you need for progression in each new sector. And then when you start getting the leaf pillows and the leaf chairs and linen chairs and whatever, then you know the rest is garbage and you cannot skip them. And that is why, since I started with a guy that I have already unlocked a bunch on, I just skip these islands because other than some materials that you can find, like the tomato seeds and the wheat seeds and things that you can then grow later on, you don't need to go to them. They're absolutely garbage. And that's a bad part of it. That really takes away a lot from doing this again. You know what I mean? So if the whole point of having these islands that are procedurally generated each playthrough, you only see a benefit of doing this if and only if you are starting fresh with a new character each time. So you have to force yourself to unlock stuff. But then you also have back in your mind, this is a grindy. You go into all this island. Most of them are going to be garbage for you. And I say garbage because they're just not that interesting. Okay? I don't mean it necessarily the derogatory. I don't say that it's purely just poop. I'm saying that for most part, you are not going to enjoy the just traveling to islands that maybe give you one piece of a material you're looking for, or one seed or 2 seeds, and then nothing else. Now, they added a couple of things that for some people are gonna be interesting. Like now you can pick up birds, and then you can put them in the sanctuary, and here's your bird. It's a pretty little bird. Doesn't do anything. Yes, you can. Sometimes you will have a mission to, say, decorrupt an island by releasing butterflies on it. And yes, you can also capture butterflies and frogs. And some of those are going to be unlocked on frogs. The thing is this, it really is pointless. I hate to be that guy that say those things because I don't want it to be pointless. I really want all of these features to be super useful, but they're not. And one of the reasons for that is because decorrupting an island does nothing for you at this moment. There's no benefit for it. Now, you would say, like, okay, so what do you mean with no benefit? That gives you access to the resources on it. Yeah, but you can find that on any uncorrupted island. There's nothing special with it. It's not gonna unlock suddenly something very useful for you because these are nothing special. Why can't I clip you, dude? Oh. Violet is still hungry? Go eat. There's food there. Stop being like that. Don't worry. I can give you a haircut. How about you? Okay, good. How about you? Anywho. Wool is also one of those things that kind of run out of woke as soon as you have linen, unfortunately. So that's why I didn't go all bore with having too many of these, because all they do is just eat and poop. Poop, sure, useful. But the reality is that that too is you can get it from so many other sources to make manure, and you only need it for making planters. But not to gripe on that, that's just the way it is. Everything has a shelf expiration time in games like these. That's just the way it is. But to be honest here, exploration becomes tedious quickly due to having a system where that doesn't reward exploration in a way that's promoting the game itself, or in a way that you want to go to all these islands. There's just not enough resources and interesting things on these islands. And once you have the resources and you don't really need them, then why would you go to an island? To maybe find a knowledge stone that's going to give you pillows when you know that now you're only getting stuff that's not going to progress you, so you're wasting your time going to all these islands. So this looks grayish, like it's a corrupted island, so let's find out. Oh yeah, that's a corrupted island. Yeah, it has a corruption tree. Now I'm gonna look around here, and as you can see, it has a page. I can make pages myself. But let's say you want to pick up this flower. Let's see. Are you gonna, yeah, there you go. So the ecosystem says that you can't do it until you have to recapture the island. But why? There's nothing I need from this island at this moment. There's nothing like a special creature I was looking for, or maybe I was looking for flaxseed. I don't see that. This island is worthless. Maybe I feel bad not to be a nice guy and decorrupt an island. But as far as I know, it's not going to spread the corruption. You don't lose any karma for not decorrupting it. There's no mechanism in place that enforces any reason to do that. You don't get the specific reward for decorrupting it. There's nothing other than maybe feel good. So you are wasting a lot of time until you realize that most of this you can just skip. Just go to an uncorrupted island and just get the resources from there. Why waste time going through this whole thing where, yeah, let's now put this book on here. Let's check out what it needed. Okay, I need plant trees, flora diversity. I need an animal amount there. which can usually be done by just fixing that bird feeder for some reason. I also need a small animal, like a frog, and then repair the birdhouses and cut down a sick tree. That is a lot of work for nothing. Nothing. Because it ain't gonna make me happier. It's not gonna do things better. Says, oh, tomatoes are good. Oh, I can't pick up the seed. Why? Why? And the limitation on inventory is so annoying. What can I drop? This is so annoying. Coffee beans is so hard to come by. So I'm just gonna destroy that one. Destroy those. And pick up the coffee bean. Coffee beans. That was not a coffee bean. That was a tomato seed. I'm being stupid. Tomatoes are one of those things that you definitely want to grow because tomato soup is just awesome. It just is. Okay, so what else do we have? Anything else good here? A corrupt island that I'm not going to even bother with because it just doesn't do anything good for me. Why worry about it? So that was quickly one of the bad thing about this game as to why I don't bother with certain features. Why I don't care about trying to clean out. And I really wish there was just one where you can just sort it out by just telling everything of a similar kind to move over, rover. This annoying, just mixed all over kind of stuff. And why would I do that? Why would I get bats? What's so cool with bats? I mean, again, if you're into collecting digital animals and butterflies and frogs, oh my, yeah, this game will allow you to do stuff like that. But if you are looking for like a progression, an interest, an experience of searching and looking, this game is not it. Sad to say. So I'm gonna go over to that one. Now, I do like this navigational system. I wish Lost Sky had something like that, but they're working on it. I wish, however, there was a device you could put on you that also allowed you to pull up the map while you're not doing this. The only way you can look at the map is through this navigation system. I really wish there was some other way to do it. Now, there is a spyglass that you have too, which is entirely useless. This one, where you can spy through it. So let's set that up. You can spy through that, right? Right. And you can put, I think you can put it something here. I don't know. Place waypoint. Oh yeah, yeah, like that. So you can do them manually to know where to go. Sorta. Can I? But it doesn't really feel any. I can't just look from here, spy on the island to see if it has the resource I'm looking for. That would be cool. That would be useful. So I'd rather just have a regular map function. I get it. But just scroll out the papyrus map or something to make it look like it's part of that. And then you have uncovered things. Map functions should be right. You should hit M and get the map function. I will say this. Navigation in this game is among the best. The visibility, the scale of things is just marvelous. The ability to move, very easy. Adjust height, very easy. Adjust speed, very easy. It just feels extremely natural. It's well done, uncomplicated, and intuitive. And you can always change it to, in this case, I have a multi-button mouse, so I'm controlling it by just doing that. And all of that is, simply put, great. No question about it. Navigational wise, set a navigation point with your navigation table. Easy. Big green dot, where to head. Perfect. This is how it should be. And as far as indication of where the wind is, as opposed to where the whirlwind wall is, etc., all of that is very functional. It's very easy. So let's find ourselves a little scrap, which can illustrate the final part of this Let's Discuss video. I think we have one right there. And two of them. So you do have two different weapons here, really. You have the sword and you have the bow. The bow is really not that good, to be honest. It middling damage. I mean, okay, it's decent for what it does, but you won't really use it fighting anything else other than maybe shooting these nodes if it's placed in a really poor location. Anyway, let's have at least some food here. Corn on the cob. Good. There you go. That's what I want. Swing energy and whatever. There we go. So, there are a couple of things. Ah, I'm being hit. Ah. This is bullshit. So there's a couple of things that you can do and unlock in this game. There's 3 different maneuvers that I know of. Maybe there's more now. One is this charge attack, which I use a lot. That's a heavy attack. But the charge attack is that I like it for a lot of reasons. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure I didn't get slapped by those tentacles. So the charge attack is 103. You have also another kind of like an enemy attack where you hit them and it kicks them up into the air, and then you can smack them in the air before they drop down. It is not good. It would be better if it was set up so it automatically just keep on smacking them. So you do the maneuver and then it jumps up and you automatically smack. But the whole idea is that you kick them up and then you have to manually attack them several times. The problem is that the timing on that is so difficult that maybe you will get in one smack and that's it. So now you have wasted one of those white bars in the bottom left corner on a maneuver that's hard enough to do. The other one is a drop down thing. So you can't just drop it down from here, like when you're soaring from above. You first have to fold in your wings and then do it. And by that time, you are probably not going to hit anything. Not anything good. And this makes it also particularly difficult to use because if you're further away from any opponent, they will just go underground. They will kind of reset and dig into the ground and then pop up as soon as you get close. So if you have a hair soaring, they will disappear, they will disperse, and they will go into like a whole pattern waiting for you to drop down. So you cannot, for most part, get a good group of them going so you can smack down. And all you do is just shove them to the side. You don't even insta-kill all of them for dropping down on it. Most of it, in other words, is wasted opportunity to get them. So, you end up doing the only thing that really works well, and that is that maneuver that I was talking about, where you just charge and attack. And you can even charge and attack things in the air, so it's a really good thing to use for that purpose. is so annoying. I wish I had my bow. And there we go. So this takes care of the combat. Now, at best, you might have just gotten rid of all the bad stuff and you don't have to worry about cleansing the island. And then it's just a matter of getting the whatever it had on it. But generally, there's nothing special here. It looks very grayish though, so I wonder if this is something I'm gonna have to clean. I hope not. Well, let's check it out. So, oh, it's a clean one. Good. It's just dark. That's all. So now I'm gonna go look for stuff that maybe can be here, like a knowledge stone, if I'm lucky. Oh, worm. Yeah, I like worms. But you wouldn't go and explore a thing like this just for a worm, would you? I'm looking for birds and flaxseed. Flaxseed is just the king of everything. You can make some really good bandages, I believe, from it. And it's easy enough to plant. And I think it most of the time it gives you seeds. So there are things like coffee that don't necessarily give you a seed all the time. It's a little bit harder. Oh, flaxseed. Oh, there you are. Come to me, my pretty. Yes, look at that. Flaxseed. Now we're going to have to scour this place for more. See? I found something to be happy about. But, of course, once I have all the flax seeds I need, I don't really have to worry about it, now would I? More flaxseed. Oh, lovely. Be happy now. Be happy. Oh, one white page, huh? A blue frog. Pumpkin display. Is that something I can unlock? Let's see. Yep. And then a page. Fine. The white. No, I don't care. You're coming with me. Just kidnapping ladybugs here. Let's go ahead and spawn my place. Oh, come on. Character island. Beginning. There's my island. Wonderful. So happy. So, now we are gonna plant yeah. Exactly what I wanted. Let's cut you. Whoa. Oh, no. Smacked it in the head. Yeah, take that. What do you think? You are pooping all over the place. As wonderful as it is to go to all these different places, you start to realize that it's not as rewarding to see these small planets. Not once you have all the resources that you need for it. So then you start skipping things and stop exploring. And then you just start driving. There was one time where I was just flying. That's all I did. I was just flying for the longest time on my island. And that's kind of sort of how it feels when you do Lost Skies too, unfortunately now. Is that all you do is flying. Instead of exploring. Once you get to the handmade islands, most of them are interesting. There are a couple that probably needs a little bit more flavor to them. But here, the Fresco Island, very interesting. It really kind of brings it home. But not these, unfortunately. Not these. Oh, another map stone. That's it. There should always be a purpose by going to any of the islands, whether it's resources, and especially if it's an island that you have to decorrupt. Some kind of karma system that offers reward for doing it. I think that would be the best way of actually motivate people to want to do it. And third of all, I also would like to see that islands that have the mushrooms on it, that there is a reason to go and cleanse them out. Whether that's part of the overall karma system, like a decorrupt only gives you 1 point of karma plus, whereas fighting all the mushroom people gives you 3 points. I don't care. And maybe there are special rewards that you can only find on the ones like a chest that has a special reward in it, a unique piece of puzzle, a piece of material that you then use for a unique item. Again, you want to motivate people to actually do things, not because you're a good guy, because this is just a game. This is not real life. I also want to see something else as far as exploration that makes you want to go there. And I think the best way to do that is to motivate people through a technology system that is more grounded on less random stuff and more on tangential things that you can choose. So getting a point from each of the knowledge stone that you can put down towards unlocking knowledge. That would be a tremendous boon for this game. It will take the randomness and the boredom of knowing that you're probably just going to get random stuff out of the system and add it more so you can put it towards. Now, you can still gate it. You can still say, like, you have to be in this section in order to come here, like a tier system. So now you can do the tier 2. Fine. That exists in every other single game out there almost. So why not here? That way you can kind of slow down progression enough for people to actually go to another section to explore. But at the same time, you can use those points on the lower stuff too. So that incentivizes you to go and find all the points because there's more points than necessarily there are things to discover. But it also makes you more diligent in exploring the universe that you have put out there. And then I also would like to see a change in the combat system where instead of having 3 different maneuvers you can do, that the maneuvers are simplified. It's simple enough to do it with the first one, that is the charge and attack. It works beautifully. Get rid of you having to hit the button to hit on the upswing one. Once you do it, it's going to go through the motion of hitting it 3-4 times. That's it. It's just gonna swing it up and smack it several times and then go down. And then as far as the one where you drop down, make it just one button that you hit. I don't care which one it is, but set it up so it makes sense. You can soar above and then just hit that button and boom. Not to first fold in the wings and then manage to hit it so you drop down. And how you can make them not go underground just when you're a little bit too above. Yeah. That's not really for me to solve. But I think it would also help if you then have a marker on the ground that you can visually see where you're going to land, right? Now you kind of sort of have to guess. But it would be better if when you drop down or about to drop down, I don't know, that, for example, that you can hold in the button, it marks the area that you're going to land in, and then you release, and then it drops down. That way, you can kind of have a better idea where you're going to drop. Because there are other games out there, like if you do play on the Warhammer 40k one, Space Marines, then it will tell you where you're going to jump. Okay, you jump to do a smackdown, it will kind of mark it. Or when you throw a grenade in some games, they're going to mark you where it is. You have a much better precise idea of how you do it because this is a game. It doesn't have to be so silly. You want to do quality of life things like that in order for it to feel like something you want to use. And for the SmackDown one, make it actually do something other than just smack them ahead and fly them. Make it possible for you to fly them so high that maybe you will smack them off in over the edge in a comical fashion. I think that would be awesome. Or that if you land exactly on something, you flatten them, pretty much. And those are my ideas. I think that would make this game even better than it is. And it also would take some of the grind out of it, or the feeling of grind. Because there is always grind in games. But when you don't feel it like it's work, and you feel like it's just part of the whole process of exploration, then time flies by and you actually enjoy it. Anytime you turn it into a grind where you're fighting an interface rather than fighting the game, as I always say, that's when you're really not having fun. So, you have a great day. You have a terrific life. You have a great weekend upcoming. And I hope everything goes your way. And as I always say, until we meet again, adieu.